Welcome, everyone, to our episode of Tilt Talents in Lending Tech. And today we have Owen Lee. Uh, Man, I'm so excited to have him on the air. He's a friend, a great friend of mine, even a past client from the past.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you're out of the Michigan area today?
I am. Sitting about 20 miles west of Detroit, and it's a beautiful fall sunny day.
Yeah, it looks great there.
Yeah.
So just to intro, I'm sure a lot of you already know Owen, but man, quite a resume. He is the founder of Success Mortgage Partners and
Mhm.
CEO. And a big, announcement. I mean, you're coming in as the elect chair, excuse me, the elect chair of the MBA National, which is awesome.
Correct. Yep.
And you're a past chair. I know you've done a lot of great work in the regulatory, efforts and advocacy. But
Hmm.
you're a past chair 2023 to 24, more PAC chairman as well.
Correct. Yeah, I did a lot of begging for money in 2023 and 2024.
We're both professional ass kissers, so that's
Guilty is charged.
me
Guilty
too.
is charged. Yeah.
Anyways, I'm very much looking forward to seeing you at the National NBA, which we have starting this weekend
Yeah,
practically.
just a few days now.
So I'm sure it's going to be an awesome conference. I think I've attended literally almost 20 years now, and I've never missed.
Yeah.
Um, but anyway, so we'll kick off a few questions for you. I think that
Sure.
you've got a great perspective, of the entire lending industry. You get to see it from all different angles. You're in the
Hmm.
business, you're at the trees level, you're in the forest level, you're everywhere.
Yeah.
So, what are some of the challenges that lenders are still facing that they have been trying to solve through technology, that exists still, that you're coming across today in the market?
Yeah. Well, this is a huge issue, and like you said, Mark, I might have a little bit of a unique perspective just because, I mean, I am an owner operator, right? I'm the CEO of Success Mortgage Partners. We're a mid-size IMB in Michigan. I can never figure out if we're a small, big company or a big, small company. I think I identify more with the big, small company thought process. But that, and obviously with my involvement in the MBA, I have a ton of friends in the IMB space. We're very active in peer grouping and the mortgage collaborative, and so we talk to other people a lot. And I think that oh boy, the issues that we see. So I think the issue, the biggest issue is okay. AI is here, and what are we going to do with it, right? How do we take that next step to get to the next level? And I'll give you, for instance, maybe on the sales side and maybe on the operational side too. I think we all were amazed and probably still remember a few generations of ChatGPT ago when someone first said, create an open house flyer for 123 Main Street, right? And it just magically appeared. And most of it was good and a little bit of it was BS and kind of made up, but who reads those things all the way through anyway, right? And we were just amazed, right? And we thought, oh, we're going to do this for our realtors, and all this stuff. And that was great. On the sales side, you've got to move beyond AI just creating content, right? You've got to figure out how to use it to lead generate. And there are a lot of different ways that you can do that, but you've got to do it seamlessly. You have to have something working for you when you are not working, and then you have to follow up on those leads, right? Because if we don't follow up, then they go to waste. And maybe, 10, 15 years ago, that was an expenditure you could make. That's not an expenditure you can make today. You have to figure out a way to use technology to follow up on every single possible lead because that's what the big guys are doing, right? On the operations side, similar, right? Data extraction was the first big thing, right? If you could get a purchase advice, or you could get a deck page, or you could get a title insurance policy, or a driver's license, or something like that to extract data, put it in the right place, that was phenomenal. Well, now we have to move beyond just extracting, right? And that's like full disclosure. That's one of the things that I love about Trained. I'm a Trained client is, you can pull out the data and then do something with it.
100%.
And I think that's that next generation, right? It's no longer, if you want to be at the forefront of driving down your manufacturing costs, you have to extract data and then you have to do something with it. You have to do multiple things. So, so-called creating the open house flyer is no longer good enough. Extracting is no longer good enough. And, whether it's validating or decision making, we're still, kind of from a regulatory point of view, forbidden from using it in any kind of, underwriting aspect. And maybe that day is coming soon. Who knows? Regulations change sometimes, but right now we've got to extract and we've got to do something with that data if we're going to continue to drive down our manufacturing costs. So there's one for sales and one for operations.
Yeah, 100%. It's a great, presentation on laying that out. I love the way you did that, and thank you for the kind words on Train. But, one of the things we see with so many clients is just the amount of stare and compare. And a challenge too is it really is hard to change old, ways of doing things. And you have, somebody in operations that really the C-suite isn't familiar with what's going on in operations at a detail level. And there might be just little minutia things that are done that don't have to be done anymore. And, sometimes even when a new tech product comes in, not even necessarily us, but whoever it might be, the people actually doing the loans don't even know that that tech benefit exists.
Yeah.
And you have to make sure that that gets put through, adopted, and actually used so that you can start to suppress some of those older actions. And then you get the ROI that you're looking for and hoping for.
Yeah, it's something that well, that's well said, right? You have to do more. And if you don't do more, you will be left behind, especially the small to medium sized companies. And one of the things you have to drill your operations people, because there's an inertia there, right? People don't want to get replaced, which is the big boogeyman and everything. And the people that embrace that technology and become really good at it, those are the people that are going to be safe.
Yeah.
You can't stop technology any more than I could stop a 1,200-pound locomotive if I were standing on a railroad track, right? But if you try to be a roadblock, those are the people that are going to get eliminated.
Yeah. Yeah. It can absolutely be a booster for your business in the future. And, those that use it, that wield it, are going to rise to the top for sure.
Yep.
And, Success Mortgage Partners I love how tech forward your company is. Your people are amazing there. And, being an early adopter is hard to do. It's a risk. But if you read the stats on early adoption, mainstream buyers, and then the late stage buyers lose.
Yeah.
And the only ones that typically do late stage are like the big dinosaur, big corporate that aren't necessarily watching the pulse that closely. But when you're an early adopter, the benefit is maybe you take a little bit of risk up front on early adoption. However, by the time your entire operations gets used to that and they can start to absorb, when it does become mainstream, you've already hit adoption. And if it was valuable, maybe you minimized your risk up front. That's why we offer a pay-per-close loan model, so you're eliminating.
Well, I would just listen. Being an early adopter is a full contact sport.
It is. Yeah.
Sometimes you get a bloody nose, but that's all right. If you need it to become part of your DNA sooner rather than later.
I love that.
Yeah.
Let's go to another question that I've been dying to ask. So, personally, I'm very proud of you for becoming, and I know I'm not your father, but I'm just proud of you.
I appreciate it.
Incoming chairman, elect for the MBA. It's just really excited for what the impact you'll make at the MBA, and there's a lot of great people there. So, you'll just add and complement to that. But
thank you.
There's a lot of opportunity for the MBA that they've been pivoting and shifting to in supporting lenders around the AI movement, the modernization revolution. There's an entire swap out of, rules-based code in the entire economy, not just lending. And what are some of the vision points? Maybe give, viewers a sneak peek at some of those vision plans or just thoughts? It doesn't have to be concrete, but just things that the MBA is hoping to help support lenders on with that, modernization.
Well, the plate is full right now, I would just say. I mean, I would argue that the NBA is coming off of one of its most successful 12 months, and we have a full plate coming up for the next 12 months. I mean, if you just kind of look back at the last 12 months, right? There has been 30 bills that have passed Congress since the new administration has come in. Three of
That's
them had MBA fingerprints on them.
wow.
Obviously, the trigger leads bill, huge bipartisan success point,
Hmm.
huge step forward for the consuming public, the home buying public. I mean, I just had a call yesterday from a loan officer who said, "What about this? I thought the trigger leads were banned. They forgot about the 6 month wait period because their borrower was literally crying on the phone, mother with kids at home, because she couldn't use her cell phone because it was blowing up so much
Wow.
from trigger leads calls." So that
Hmm.
was a huge step forward. We had the VA partial claims bill,
Hmm.
which corrected kind of an anomaly in the VA servicing guidelines because veterans were actually put at a disadvantage in comparison to the rest of the general public when doing some kind of workout or modification of a loan where they fell behind. For goodness sakes, nobody wants veterans to be at a disadvantage. If anything, veterans should be at an advantage. The NBA got that passed. Um,
Great work.
and signed into law, and our fingerprints were all over the one big beautiful bill.
Hmm.
Not to get political, but the one big beautiful bill was great for housing. It was absolutely great in its tax treatment of mortgage servicing rights, which was a huge benefit to keeping the value of mortgage servicing rights strong. Full deductibility for mortgage insurance, increase in the deductibility on how much mortgage interest on your primary residence
Wow.
you could get. I mean, this is a big win for
Yeah.
housing. And if you look at especially the independent mortgage space where I reside, the vast majority of companies are subchapter S corps. Um, and
Oh, C with a sub S or the C corp.
yeah, and so the qualified business deduction being
Mhm.
made permanent, huge victory
Yeah.
for many in the mortgage space. So, that would be the last 12 months. Honestly, it was the most successful year of any year for the decade that I've been heavily involved. But then we got our plate full. Oh my goodness, what about GSE reform and potential exit from conservatorship, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That will be the biggest if it happens. And I'm talking about actual exit of conservatorship, a little bit more than just a capital raise, which I think most folks are concentrating on right now. But that will be the most consequential issue in the mortgage industry, I would argue, since the Fannie and Freddie were put into conservatorship. And on that date, I don't think that anybody thought that Fannie and Freddie would still be in conservatorship 17 years later.
Yeah.
Um, but so that is going to be a gigantic issue. What's going to happen with the CFPB with regulations? Are they going to keep enough regulators around to actually change the rules? LO comp, and that doesn't even touch. Mark, you and I could talk for 2 hours about regulatory implications of technology. The
Right.
technology is just moving so much faster than the
That's the regulation.
regulation.
Yeah,
It's
for sure.
creating a lot of issues, and we have to make sure. I think the biggest danger right now is these individual states creating what I'd call like one-off laws,
Yeah.
where you end up, 5 years from now with some kind of 50-state patchwork. We got to keep that from happening.
Yeah.
Move regulation forward to match technology
Mm.
with uniform solutions, not one or two states, kind of branching out and then everybody creating their own.
Yeah. Well, first of all, that's awesome. I mean, cheers to NBA and to your support for that. And I mean,
Thank
you
you.
know, I think you're closest to it in it, but and I understand exactly what you're talking about. I
Yeah.
was actually I'm part of the Exchequer Club in DC, and I
Oh
attend
yeah.
those meetings, and they actually spoke on the when they took it in to conservatorship, and then there's actually a great even though at the time it was maybe frowned upon to bail it out. It's quite a bit of a ROI for the taxpayer if they take that public. I mean, there's a lot of
Hmm.
dividend that's paid into that, and if that does happen, it's very complicated to take it public. They were telling these are the people that actually put the deal together that spoke,
Yeah.
but the amount of ROI is it's massive because there's been a dividend that's been retained for the taxpayer basically that
Hmm.
when they take that IPO, it would pay that off. You would have to do
Well, I
that.
tell you, there's yes, 100% true, but I think there's a difference between like what's going to happen with the capital stack.
Mhm.
There are huge issues there,
Right.
right? With
Yes.
taxpayers and people that hold current Fannie and Freddie stock securities,
Right.
bonds, all that kind of stuff. So then there's the capital stack issue, and then there's the regulatory issue
Mm.
because they don't have 60 votes in the Senate to exit Fannie and Freddie from conservatorship.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there is a what's commonly called the administrative path, but without getting technical, that's much more problematic for the rules and what's going to happen to the rules that have been developed in the 17 years that they've been in conservatorship.
Yeah.
So I don't think any politician I just the legislative route. I mean, for someone to use that much political capital on an issue that 98% of Americans don't really understand, I just can't see that happening in today's political
Yeah.
world. So if it happens, it'll probably happen administratively.
Yeah.
And, we got to do the grind work. And I say we as an industry, right?
Yeah.
Every single person needs to be involved and made their voice heard on behalf of the industry, or we're going to end up with something that is, I mean, Fannie and Freddie have their problems, but if that happens and we don't show up, we're going to end up with something that's much less desirable than even what we have right now.
Sure. No.
Yeah,
Well, I know you talk a lot about that on your channel as well on LinkedIn, and love hearing
I
your updates.
do.
So everybody stay posted with Owen. He'll keep
Yeah,
you
if
updated
any,
on that.
if anybody wants to follow, I update a lot on LinkedIn.
Hmm.
Just go to joinowen.com and there's like a one click. If you just go to think about that, just go to joinowen.com and it's a pretty easy way to sign up.
Yeah. No, that's great, man. But
Yeah.
love to stay. I'm going to stay posted as well. I'm already joined, but I'm going to keep tuning in.
Thank you.
So now
Uh,
for the fun question.
yeah.
Last question is I always like to ask this. So the whole theme of this show is, identifying. There's a lot of entrepreneurs in this business. I think most IMB owners are entrepreneurs by, they're serial entrepreneurs or they are very creative. And
Yep.
some of the creative people in this industry, and that's really what made me want to do this, podcast, and sharing that creativity with people. What is your creative talent that you'd like to share? And then how have you used your creative talents to lead you to, your successful career path here?
Oh, so I'll tell you a story. Have you ever heard that game, Two Truths and a Lie?
Yes.
Okay, so whenever I play that game, one of the things I say is that I took the Dale Carnegie course 4 times before the age of 24.
Wow.
Okay, and
What
that
made you
actually
do
is a
that?
truth for me.
What
Uh,
made you do that?
so so when I was a senior in high school, I went to Villanova, just outside of Philadelphia. And to make a very long story short, my roommates and I thought it would be great to road trip to a Baltimore Orioles game one day. And my car broke down on I-95 on the way back to Philadelphia. So I graduated from college, had no car, got a job, bought a car, and was completely oblivious to how much the insurance cost, which with my 22-year-old driving record, the insurance actually costs more than the car.
Oh my
Okay.
God.
So I asked my dad if he could pay the insurance for 1 year while I got started.
Hmm.
And and kind of got started in life. This is before I went to law school and everything. And I thought he was going to be a soft sell, but he said, no, we're not going to do that. He said, but what your mom and I are going to do is we're going to give you a college graduation gift that will benefit you for the rest of your life. And they paid for me to take a Dale Carnegie course.
Wow. Okay.
And I was like,
Nice.
you have got to be kidding me, right? Can you just please, what am I going to do about the insurance? And he said, well, you're young, you're bright, you get a second job or, bartend or do something. And, which is exactly what I did. And I got the insurance paid. But I took the Dale Carnegie course somewhat begrudgingly, and it kind of changed my life.
Yeah.
And taught me a lot about communicating with people, taught me a lot about appreciating people, taught me a lot about, how to advocate publicly, which was something that helped me tremendously when I went to law school. And back when I took it in the mid 90s, after you took it, you could get selected to be a graduate assistant. And so then when they had the next course, you would be kind of like a helper instructor, for lack of a better phrase. And I did that 3 times.
Wow.
So, and when I was a graduate assistant of the class, it was actually even better. I felt like I learned more helping other people learn the lessons and watch them grow. So I know, I'm 55 years old. I'm very blessed in that my dad is 90 and still very much alive and very much active. And so, how we occasionally hate to say that our parents were right, but he was right. And he helped me, that he was 100% right. That helped me do everything, that I've accomplished because, just having great relationships with people, in addition to having a good work ethic, is I think that that's something from which everybody can benefit. I was always taught by my dad and by my Dale Carnegie instructor, this guy named Lloyd Livingston, that the person that has the most money in their W-2 at the end of the year is the person that can get along with the widest array of personalities. Oh, I don't know if that's true, but but it's a unique way to look at things.
That's a good way to look at it. Well, the one thing, just to compliment what you said, you've always, every time I've ever talked to you, no matter what, you have a great approach. Your approach is very like a student and willing to learn. And that's something that I think what you're talking about here, you took that test 3 times, you're always willing to learn.
Yeah.
And so bringing that to the table of whatever you do as you approach, an initiative, it's a great way to be. And you are a natural networker and just, you can read body language and that human empathy. You definitely have a gift for that. So I would say that's definitely a creative talent of yours.
Well, I appreciate that. But that would probably be my unique talent that nobody knows about. I don't know, but
yeah.
All born out of a dropped axle rod on I-95 between Baltimore and Philadelphia. So,
well,
anyway,
a final thought. I want to also thank the MBA for having me perform at the MBA advocacy.
Yeah, we're looking forward to that.
Me too. You have to shoot me to get me off stage. I love to play. So
yeah.
So careful what you ask for. But it is.
Well, I tell you, it's I think it'll be good. The industry. I could talk about MORPAC for a long time, and obviously, I donated a lot of hours to that organization, and they do great work, and it's great work that most people don't see. Yeah. So if you're at the MBA convention, everybody is invited to the MORPAC reception, which means that everybody is invited to hear Mark Cunningham riff on the guitar in a extreme. I've heard you before. Like, I don't know. Is that Mark Cunningham or Eddie Van Halen or I have no idea. Right.
I didn't have a lot of dates in high school. I just played guitar a lot. So. But thank you for the kind words. It's an honor and a privilege for sure.
Yes. So
all right, I'll see you at the MBA, Owen. Thank you so much for this, and appreciate you, man.
Great. I'll see you in Vegas.
All right. Thanks everyone for watching.
Yep.
Take care.